You're live, Mr. Chairman.
All right, welcome everybody to our first opportunity to look at some House bills here on Senate Transportation. Looks like we got everybody. Thank you for the quick turnaround with lunch and everything. I do appreciate it, everyone. So first bill we have up is a committee bill, House Bill 8. Looks like we have folks from the Department of Transportation. Anybody wants to come up and go over this simple little House bill here?
Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Misty Zimmerman. I am the Program Manager for Driver Services. House Bill 8, we talked at length during the interim, and I think it's all pretty straightforward, but I will walk through the bill with you. The major change, obviously, is on page 2 of the bill, lines 14 through 16, where the verbiage is added that provided that the licensed driver has attained the age of 18 years old. As you recall, during the interim, we had some back and forth on this one, and there was some discussion regarding mix-up funding and those types of things. We have since gotten some clarification from FMCSA that in fact we are allowed to do that. We also received a letter from the committee, both chairmans, requesting that we put this in our rules and regulations. Those were read in front of commission last week and were accepted. So we do have that as per your instructions in rule, and look forward to talking through this with you.
Okay, any questions, committee? Okay, so let me understand, you already put this in rule then? Is that, I just heard, just make it very clear.
Chairman Boner, you are correct. We, at your direction, did add this into rule. I do have copies of the draft if you would like it. I can leave that for you guys to look at.
Okay, and so where exactly is that in the process then? Is it?
Right now, it has been approved by the commission. It will go to the governor's office next, and then will be pushed for public comment.
Okay, and will passing this bill somehow interfere with that timeline at all?
It should not, sir. We do have some concerns potentially with changes that FMCSA may make. Allowing us to keep that in rule would eliminate the need for us to come back to this body and ask for a change in statute if in fact they do determine that it is not, or it would potentially have funding or impact to our funding.
Okay. Any questions, committee? Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Any public comment? Come on down.
Mr. Chairman, Sheila Furch with the Wyoming Trucking Association. You'll remember our testimony throughout the interim too. In May, we were pretty hesitant to support this because we were receiving the same kind of information that WYDOT was, that it just wasn't possible for a state to implement hazmat endorsements for 18-year-olds. So we were hearing that from our federal partners as well, and we're very hesitant to support that move because we didn't want to jeopardize the CDL program in the state of Wyoming. Not just the funding, but perhaps the ability for Wyoming to even be able to issue CDLs. So we were hesitant at first, but as we found out that it was possible, my members are supportive of this. Want to make it clear that the hazmat endorsement is just not handed out. There are hoops that the person that wants that endorsement needs to go through. So it's still a process, but it still helps those younger drivers that do want to become a commercial vehicle driver as a career. It allows us to capture them younger, and that's something that we're very interested in. Happy to hear that WYDOT has already done the rules process. I'm thrilled with that, and I do think it does give them more flexibility when that's in rules rather than statute. So that's something to think about, but we're certainly supportive of this effort at this time.
Okay, any questions, committee, for the Truckers Association? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any further public comment?
Mr. Chairman, Keith Kennedy for Wyoming Ag Business Association. We'd urge you to support this. We also are trying to recruit younger drivers, and we're caught in a pretty unique situation, especially with application of pesticides, and where someone can legally operate the truck as well as the very expensive equipment on it, and it's a matter of packaging for one of the most used products. If those products are packaged in 55-gallon drums, they do not require a CDL, do not require a hazmat endorsement. But if it's packaged in what we call a mini bulk, they're placarded, so they would need to have a hazmat endorsement. And they certainly get a lot more training as far as the use of the product that they're transporting than is required for the hazmat endorsement, although that is substantial as well, as the previous witness testified. With that, I'd welcome your questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Kennedy? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Any further public comment?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Kelly Little with the Associated General Contractors of Wyoming. I'll be very brief. Our members are in support of this. I don't need to tell this committee how difficult it is to find qualified CDL drivers, particularly those that can do this kind of driving. This just allows flexibility for our companies to find and train and retain the right candidates for this kind of position. So I would encourage support from the committee. And with that, I'll stand for questions.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Any questions for the contractors?
Thank you.
Okay, any further public comment? Anybody online?
Not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. So public comment is closed. Committee, what's your pleasure? Okay, moved by Senator Pappas, second by Senator Kolb. Any discussion here? I think the only decision point we have here is whether we want to, not allow for the flexibility that the rules would normally allow for. Senator Kolb.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, I'm in favor of this bill. I think it's a much firmer position to take with a bill instead of rulemaking. I just, not that I distrust YDOT or anybody making rules, but I do question the ease of change and why it couldn't have changed before. So I'm in favor of a bill that would make that clear.
Any further comment? Okay, let's do a roll call vote.
Senator Brennan? Aye. Senator Furphy?
Aye.
Senator Kolb?
Aye.
Senator Pappas?
Aye.
Chairman Boner?
Aye.
5 ayes.
Okay, do I have a volunteer to take that one on the floor? Senator Furphy, you want to give it a shot? Okay. Yeah. Sweet. All right.
You did say.
You're gonna get voluntold if you don't say anything. Okay, so, thank you, everybody. House Bill 23, you're up next, Representative.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Senate Transportation Committee. I bring you House Bill 23, Vehicle Registration, E-Certificate, and Grace Period. Members, this is just a change in the statute that it would allow an electronic form of vehicle registration in that electronic form. So it can be issued in that form. If you go to page 2, it says a physical or electronic copy is acceptable. And it adds that a certificate of registration issued by a county treasurer may be provided in electronic form. I was intentional with that may, so that way counties who don't want to issue an electronic certificate of registration don't have to, but the counties who do want to do that are able to do that. And then you can see on page 3, it also gives a 30-day grace period for validation stickers to be placed on the license plate. The reason why we did this is so the whole process can be done online, and then the stickers can be mailed to the people who paid for their registrations. So with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions for the Prime Sponsor? Okay, on that last bit on page 3, this is just so I understand the effect. Say your tags expire in February. Does that mean you have until March 31st to put the tags on? Is that what that does?
Mr. Chairman, so yes, so as long as you pay by the time that your registration is due, the system that they use for the state to keep the registrations up to date is going to update. And so even if you're pulled over in that time when it's in the mail, the officer that pulls you over will be able to tell that you've renewed your registration. You'll have your electronic or physical registration, and I don't see that there's going to be any issues with that. So,
Okay, and do members of law enforcement agree with you? Have you run that by them?
Mr. Chairman, so far, I've not heard any opposition from law enforcement on this bill.
But have you talked to them about it? That's my question.
I haven't personally talked to them, but I know there's some people in the audience that can testify to how law enforcement views that, so.
Okay, yeah, I just hate to have them, waste their time, pull somebody over for an expired tag and realize that in fact it was not. So go ahead, Senator Kolb.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Larson. Good day to you, sir. Just a question about the timing. How long do you perceive it's going to take for somebody to get a physical certificate in their hand instead of an e-certificate? As I know a lot of the older people above, well, certainly above 30, would wonder just, they're driving around and might make them feel a little uncomfortable. So what could you add with the perceived time it will take to actually get it in hand? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Kolb, so, I mean, I would say that's up to the USPS on as far as how fast it will get to them. I mean, sometimes that could take a few days up to a week to get that physical registration in the mail. But the way I envision this working is if you did pay for it online, if someone who wanted that physical copy, they could download that and print it off at home and have it with them in as little as a few minutes. So it can vary, but I don't know if I've answered your question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, not really. So let me try again. Total time to process it, I mean, once they get the payments cleared and the clerks or the treasurer's office would process such a thing. From that point, how much time does it take? I realize it's undeterminable how long our great postal service will take to do anything anymore, but just the processing time do you envision? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, if they're doing this process online, I would say it would take just a few seconds for it to verify they clear the transaction, and they should be able to get their paper copy right then. So, but if it's in person, they can still go in person and get it just like they have in the past. It's not changing the process for in-person payments. So, I don't know.
Okay, any further questions? Senator Furphy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, help an old guy like me. So how would you carry this electronic version? Do you put it on your cell phone, or do you carry something else in your vehicle that would have that registration? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Furphy, so yes, this would be a document that you would keep on your cell phone. If you save it in the right place on your cell phone, you don't need access to the internet to pull that up. But again, that's optional. If the registration can be provided via paper, still like, or you can keep it how it is, just like it is now, but for people who like to keep things on their devices, that is an option for them as well. And another nice thing about the ability to have it on your phone is for people who have a lot of different trailers and trucks, like let's say you're a company and you have 40 trailers and 40 different trucks, you can just give your employee the registration to their email or whatever, and that makes it a lot easier to manage the registration for various different vehicles.
Any further questions? Good, okay, thank you. Any public comment? It looks like we have the Sweetwater County Treasurer on the line, so we'll go ahead and bring him in the room. In the meantime, welcome, sir. Please introduce yourself and proceed with your testimony. Oh, wait, you're right here. You're not online. Okay.
If I can get this to work.
There you go. All right. Ask and shall appear.
Well, I wasn't sure if I was going to make it. I drove the I-80 gauntlet from Sweetwater County this morning to be with you to talk about this bill. So I did register to be online as well. Mark Cowan, Sweetwater County Treasurer, here to talk to you about this bill. This is a bill that I worked with Representative Larson on last year. The goal and purpose of this bill is to simplify the way we process things in county government. A lot of the time in our office, the treasurer's office, We deal with people that come in at the end of the month or the start of the month. And so we staff up for long lines for people to come in and take care of their registrations. One of the objectives of this bill is to make it so that that registration can be effective immediately. Right now, if you register online, which you can, there isn't an effective date until you receive your registration card in the mail along with the sticker. So this bill would make it so that you would be legal effective immediately. We did communicate with law enforcement throughout the state, very positive. Most of the time, they aren't pulling people over within that window unless there's something that's a cause for them to pull somebody over anyways. And so they're on board with this. They feel like that it wouldn't cause a problem for their officers in law enforcement. As Representative Larson alluded to, the real benefit too is for commercial operators who have multiple vehicles and trailers. We heard testimony earlier that this would save one of them 30 hours a month trying to track down registrations for trailers. When they put trailer 40 out with vehicle 86, where did the trailer registration go? So they can keep track of all of that electronically now, which makes it more convenient. We already do that with our hunting and fishing licenses. We already do that with our insurance cards in the state. So this would just make it more efficient for us to be able to use those things in the state as well. The other thing that I wanted to hit on is that our offices, when we deal with a lot of these registrations at the end of the month, the lines can just build up where people don't want to come in. And so they'll just skirt the law and take the camper trailer out because they know that they don't have time to go get the registration on Friday afternoon. And so a lot of those vehicles will go out and then they come back and well, I didn't get caught. Why should I register the camper? No reason to do that. So what we hope is that people will actually take care of that registration because they can conveniently take care of it Saturday morning if they want to. And then the process, to answer Senator Kolb's question, the process in the Treasurer's office is as soon as that electronic registration comes in, the next business day, we process those electronic registrations immediately. And then we put those registrations out in the mail. And so we do have a 30-day grace period, but I would imagine most of those people would receive that registration within that week. And by processing on that next business day, we also upload that data into the state of Wyoming's RIS system, which is what law enforcement uses to track those registrations. And so we need to get that into the system as soon as possible so that if you do get pulled over, you know that you're legal. We're not asking to change any of the software that we use. All of the county treasurers use some form of different software, but we all use the exact same registration. And so what we would do with this is if you register online, you would receive a receipt in your email that would say this is valid for 30 days. This receipt is valid for 30 days. Then you could take a picture of your physical registration when you receive that in the mail, and you could carry that electronically and show that to law enforcement. And so that's kind of the process for the Treasurer's office, and I would stand for any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cohen. Any questions? Senator Kolb.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Treasurer Cowan. Would it also help folks that discover on Saturday morning when they're going to go camping that their registration is expired on said camper and they have no way to get back except for driving illegally? I mean, it seemed like that would be a benefit. What's your thoughts?
Chairman, Senator Kolb, absolutely. That really does help. I mean, there's a lot of these people that you don't even realize that you're out of expiration. And so it gives you the opportunity to just immediately take care of that and solve the problem. So, and like I said, a lot of people will just boondock it, go run it and see what happens. And hopefully we can eliminate some of that where people will take care of this registration.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Thank you, Mr. Cowan. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, any further public comment?
Good afternoon, Chairman and committee members. My name is Amber Leba. I am the Vice President of the Greater Cheyenne Chamber of Commerce, and we also manage the Wyoming Business and Industry Federation, and we are here to speak in support of this bill. We've actually received a lot of outreach from our businesses across the state and here locally in Cheyenne that are very supportive of this bill. They've expressed to us that this will make their businesses more efficient. It'll save them numerous hours throughout the year. And they're hoping for your favorable consideration on this bill. And with that, I will stand for any questions.
Okay, any questions? Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Further public comment?
Mr. Chairman, Kelly Little with Associated General Contractors of Wyoming. AGC is in support of this bill. As Representative Larson and Treasurer Cowan both mentioned, companies that have fleets of vehicles, that's the benefit for our members, particularly is the ability to track those registrations and have them be organized and save some time for our businesses there. So we're in support of this, and I stand for any questions.
Okay, any questions for the contractors? Okay, thank you very much. Any further public comment on this bill? Nobody's online, I'm guessing? Okay, good. All right, public comment is closed. Committee, what's your pleasure?
Move the bill.
Moved by Senator Kolb, seconded by Senator Brennan. Any discussion or amendments on this short little bill? Okay, question being called. Let's do a roll call.
House Bill 23 do pass. Senator Brennan.
Aye.
Senator Furphy.
Aye.
Senator Kolb.
Aye.
Senator Pappas.
Aye.
Chairman Boner.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Larson, you have a preference for who takes us on the Senate floor?
It's got the sponsors.
Right. And none of the sponsors are the floor spot. That's okay. That'll work. All right. All right. Thanks, everybody. Looks like if there's no further business, let's go ahead and get back up to the floor and continue our day. Nice. Thanks, everyone. Yeah.